Hello Tinkerers and welcome to another Tinker. Today we're going to look at the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. What a wonderful piece of architecture it is. So what I need is first off a brand new project. Here's my workspace and best thing to do is probably name this project Burj Khalifa so I know what I'm working on. Once I've done that, let's go looking for a floor plan of a Burj Khalifa. Here we go. This is a floor plan of a Burj Khalifa and it shows me what shapes are on each level. And what I'm going to start with is obviously the bottom level. It's made up of these three prongs, and generally speaking it's this similar shape all the way down the building. If I have a closer look at that, here we go. This is a close look up of a shape that I need to start making a floor plan of a Burj Khalifa. It's kind of got this round to a point, the edge and a nice straight edge at the back. So let's go back to TinkerCAD and let's start in the basic shapes and start looking for a shape that I could build a Burj Khalifa with. It's definitely not a box or a cylinder. It's flicking down. We've got a roof, we've got a point, but it's got a straight edges, or a rounded roof, but it doesn't have a point, but it's got a nice flat edge at the back. Keep going down. Nothing looking very similar. Hold up. What about this heart shape? Have a look at this heart shape. Let's pull it on. I've got this nice shape looking from the top. I've got a nice point when it goes round. Nice round edges. Thing is, it's got these two bumps, obviously at the top of a heart here. So how could I get rid of them and get a nice flat edge and kind of get, you can see how this bottom shape is kind of like a bottom of a heart. So let's get rid of the top bit. Let's go up to a nice box. I want a whole box, or I could just get a box and then turn it into a hole, and then I want to cut just the top bit of a heart off. So I'll take that, extend it across. Make sure it's nice, looking from the top, that'd be probably the perfect shape. And then hold shift, click on both, or remember I can click, hold and make the red box over both of them. Group them objects together, wait a few seconds, and there we go. Look at that. If by magic I have got this shape. So, having a look here, what I'm going to do is going to layer it up. So I've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before coming to this core shape. So I've got 7 of them shapes going inwards. So what do I want to do? I want to start to duplicate them. So here's one, and then it's going to be slightly shifted back. Now if I hold shift, it moves on an axis, doesn't it? Yeah, so I don't have it going anywhere. So I just want to move it back, holding shift, move it back just slightly. And then I want to duplicate again. And I move that one back just slightly, so each one is going into itself, and duplicate again, and it automatically starts to do it for me. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And now I have got the bottom of my Burj Khalifa. It doesn't really look like the Burj Khalifa at the moment. It doesn't have this shape out. So let's look at the first one. The first one is nicely stretched outwards. So let's go to the first one. Here we go. And let's stretch that outwards. Hold shift and it will grow in expanding, but I don't want to do that. So I want to expand it this direction, don't I? So I want to expand it out. So I want to keep the same width, but expand it that way. So if I make a mistake, remember I can always undo. I know it is 28.31 wide. That's a bit of a strange number. So what I could do is select them all. Click on that and let's make that a nice 30. Make our lives a lot easier. And then I can start to remember what I'm going with that way. And then this direction, let's stretch this out. If I get that off 30, it's fine. I'm just going for a rasp eyeball. And I've got my nice stretch on my first one. And I want to make sure that goes back to being 30. Yeah. So here's my first one. Then let's look at the next one. And slightly stretch them and they get slightly more compact, and more squished as they go in. So let's work on that. Let's grab the next one. Let's stretch that out slightly. If that goes slightly off, just turn it back to 30. And the next one. Slightly more, but not as much as the next one. And then these few are looking really good. So I see I've got that kind of shape going inwards. Obviously, I've got no height at the moment. We're all the same height. Well, that's definitely not going to work if I'm looking at my Burj Khalifa, because the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. So let's make and put some height in it. Obviously, from the farthest one out, That stays low, and then it slowly graduates up, getting taller and taller and taller. So let's start with the first one. The first one is 10. I'm okay with 10. So let's click on the next one. Let's bring that up a bit, just straight up to about there. And then I'm just going to slowly work these up, getting taller and taller. I need to zoom out a bit. Make sure I click on the next one. And working on taller. Don't worry about full scale at the moment. Getting really tall. So I want the tallest building in the world, don't I? And get this one to really go up. So I want a gradual scale of a really tall. There we go. And you see how I've kind of got one of the pieces from the side. So you see how it kind of graduates down, graduates up. I've got one of these stacks that goes up into it from the side point of view, and I now just need 3 of them. So let's look back. I've kind of got that rough. It doesn't have to be perfect at this precise second in time, but you need to get this rough shape, making sure you look at it from every angle, graduating up all around. So let's just group all them together for the time being. Makes my life a lot easier to control. Group all them together, and then I do want to scale it down. So if I hold shift, it will scale it down all together. Yeah, all in one, and then I don't have so much to deal with, because it is going to be a tall building, but it's not going to be a crazy tall building. There we go. So that's one of my prongs of my building for the Burj Khalifa. So how do I use them all? Because they are grouped, and I'm going to keep them grouped, I'm just going to duplicate, and I've got another prong, and duplicate again, and I've got another prong. So I've got one prong, one prong, one prong, and I need 3 prongs for Burj Khalifa. Now, a little tricky bit, I've got a best way to look is probably from the top. I need to bring these round and try to get them into that sort of shape to get this triangle going on. Yeah, from the top. So I remember I just click on this outside and I can start to curve it around. Yeah, and what do I need to get? What angle do I need to get them all? So there's one prong, one prong, and one prong. I'll let you have a think about what you can do to work that out. Have you worked it out? I reckon it should be 120 degrees and then 240 degrees, because I'm moving it around 360 and I'm moving it in 3 spots, aren't I? So let me just undo that, and then I want to click on this arrow, start moving it around, and then remember I can just click on this and go 120. And then I should have a nice angle to put that one on to get it so each side's touch. There we go. And then this one, what do we say? 120 plus 120. I need to move it to 240. There we go. And then I should be able to put that one on. Let's zoom in a bit and get this one nicely fixed on. Hopefully you can start to see how it's all coming together. It's looking very Burj Khalifa-esque at the moment. So, what am I missing? At the moment I'm missing these tiers, but I'm not going to worry about these different tiers at the moment, because at the end of the day I'm missing a core. Missing my hole down the middle. I can see straight down the middle. I don't want to see straight down the middle of the building. So let's have a look at the centre of the building. Here we go. We could either build it up with really smaller and smaller cut off hearts, because that's what we're going for up here, or I could just get, that looks very much like a triangular prism turned on its end.